Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we plunge into some really fascinating ideas, aiming to help you unlock those profound insights, those aha moments that actually stick with you.
That's the goal.
And today, well, we're embarking on a pretty captivating journey, I think. It's into a whole system for learning and living.
A holistic one, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One that promises maybe a clearer path to happiness, deeper meaning, and just, better connections with people.
And it revolves around two key figures, right?
It does. First, Rolf Fink, who sounds like a real visionary thinker. He meticulously crafted this framework for personal growth. And then there's his son, Thomas Rolf Fink, who's doing something really interesting now. He's using cutting-edge AI and music to sort of amplify his father's message globally.
Yeah, it's a fascinating mix, isn't it? Enduring wisdom meeting modern tech.
Totally.
So for this deep dive, we're going to be looking at Rolf Fink's foundational Earth Manifesto.
Okay.
And then this unique learning tool called KELiX.
KELiX, got it.
And also this really transformative idea he called the language of love.
The language of love. Intriguing.
And these aren't just separate things. They're all woven together into what Rolf Fink called his 4-layer cake model.
Oh, a cake model.
Yeah, it's a whole system covering our choices, exercises, finding our vocation, and kind of the peak, this playful, deep learning.
Okay, so our mission today is to really get into these sources. We want to unpack not just what this framework is,
Right.
but how it might offer a real path to a more fulfilling life. And, how tech is breathing new life into these ideas.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Let's start at the foundation, like you said. At the core of Rolf Fink's work is this Earth Manifesto. What exactly is that? What's its core message?
Okay, the Earth Manifesto. It's much more than just some paper document. Think of it as a declaration, a way of living consciously.
Okay.
Rolf designed and wrote it back in 1990, and then he updated it in 2013. And its core message, it's deeply personal, but also communal. It tries to recenter us, Well, it states, as a human being, I am a unique part of planet Earth and the universe, and I can love you myself, keep learning and smiling, clean up my own mess, use just what I need, give and contribute all that I am able to, and be meaningful.
Wow. That's simple but powerful.
It really is. What makes it profound isn't just the words, but the invitation it offers. It asks us to see ourselves as integral parts of the universe. Responsible agents.
Agents who can choose.
Exactly. Choose love, choose growth, choose contribution. Every day. It's meant to be like an internal compass pointing towards connection and purpose.
That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
Especially in a world that often feels, pretty individualistic. How does it help ground us in both self-love and that connection to everyone else?
Yeah.
It sounds like a basis for how we interact.
Precisely. Yeah, you've hit it. It immediately sets the stage for understanding others because it starts with you. With self-awareness, self-respect,
right.
And then it naturally extends outward. If you can, clean up your own mess, use just what you need, give what you can.
You're already interacting differently.
Yeah. You are. You're practicing a kind of mindful interaction already.
You're correct.
It implies this sense of maybe universal citizenship.
Okay.
And it's really on that foundation that Rolf Fink then introduces his idea of the language of love.
Okay. So if we're all connected, like the manifesto suggests, how do we actually speak to that connection effectively? What did he mean by the language of love? And I guess what pushed him towards that idea in a world that often seems, not very loving.
Yeah, that's the key question. Rolf Fink saw the language of love as the crucial antidote, a direct contrast to what he called the language of power, violence, dominance, and hatred.
Which we see a lot of.
Unfortunately, yes. That language has shaped so much of human history. His inspiration, it was deep. He referenced Jesus's concept of love from, 2,000 years ago. But also, interestingly, John Lennon's song Imagine.
Really? Imagine.
Yeah. And there's a neat little connection. Rolf Fink actually shares John Lennon's birthday, October 9th.
Huh, no kidding.
So for Rolf, the language of love just meant respectful, loving interaction. But he observed that humanity, we haven't greatly used it. We haven't really trained for it.
Trained for it, like a skill.
Exactly. And because we haven't trained, we often stumble. We struggle to connect genuinely. The big implication here is if we don't learn this language,
we default to conflict.
Pretty much. Conflict and misunderstanding become the default setting.
It sounds so intuitive, be loving. But like you said, we struggle. Many of us try to just, be nice. But that feels different somehow. What does training for this actually look like, practically? How do we get beyond just understanding it?
That really is the million-dollar question. And it's where Rolf Fink's practical genius comes in, I think. He knew that just knowing about love isn't enough. We need a way to embody it, practice it. And that's where KELiX fits in. He developed KELiX specifically as the instrument for this training.
Okay, KELiX, the instrument for learning the language of love. So what's its core idea? What makes it different, or maybe more effective, at sparking those aha moments, those deep, lasting insights, compared to other ways we learn?
Right, KELiX, it's not just like another board game or self-help quiz. It's designed very intentionally as a learning instrument.
Sure.
Built for what he called virtuous and playful learning. Its real innovation is its ability to create these aha squared moments.
Aha squared.
Yeah, aha. And these aren't just quick flashes of insight. He defined them as deep and particularly sustainable insights.
Sustainable. How does KELiX achieve that?
Well, it engages us on different levels all at once. Intellectually, sure, but also emotionally and interactively. It speeds up learning by moving beyond abstract ideas into concrete discussion-based situations.
So less like a test, more like a guided chat.
Exactly. A guided conversation using actual prompts to get you reflecting deeply, personally. The playful part is really important too.
Why playful?
Because it uses simple things, a Jane dice, like yes, no, 2 regular dice, and these 36 cards covering 6 life areas. Each card has a title, like Ace of Love, an image, and then on the back, 3 to 8 questions or bits of wisdom.
Ah, so prompts for discussion.
Right, and because it feels like a game, it kind of lowers your defenses, encourages open discussion, lets new perspectives pop up without feeling like you're being lectured.
I see.
It helps you work through tricky social or emotional stuff, not by giving you the answer, but by helping you discover your own insight that will actually stick.
That makes sense.
And that's why it's also said to help you win friends, because it's really about practicing empathy, understanding, respect, the very core of the language of love.
So it's about creating a real, lasting shift, not just a temporary feeling. That playful, guided approach sounds like it could make those insights genuinely sustainable. Okay, KELiX is clearly important, but you also mentioned it's the cherry on top of this bigger 4-layer cake model.
The Torton model.
Right, representing his whole life's work. Let's zoom out a bit. Can you walk us through those layers? How does KELiX fit into the bigger picture?
Absolutely. This cake model, the Torton model, it's a really neat way to see how all of Rolf Fink's ideas connect into one sort of cohesive framework for growth.
Layer by layer.
Exactly. Each one builds on the last. So layer 1, the base. Choices.
Okay, choices.
This is absolutely fundamental. That's about human behavior, psychological dynamics. It stresses that no matter what's happening outside us, we always have a choice in how we act, how we respond, how we even frame things.
It's about agency.
Total agency. It's not simplistic, like just choose to be happy. It's about reclaiming that power. Choosing love over anger, maybe, or curiosity over judgment. It highlights the power we hold.
Okay. Solid foundation. What's layer 2?
Layer 2 is exercises, because making those choices isn't always easy, right? We need to train for it.
The training aspect again.
Yep. This layer is captured in a book Rolf self-published in '98 called The 7 League Boots, 7 Simple Exercises for Life.
7 simple exercises.
Well, simple might be in quotes. He had this great saying, life gives us the tests first and only then the lessons.
Huh, that rings true.
So these exercises are designed to prepare us, to build that mental and emotional muscle needed to make conscious, positive choices consistently, even when things get tough.
Yeah.
Practical tools for self-mastery.
Got it. Choices, then exercises to support those choices. What's layer 3?
Layer 3 builds on that. Vocation.
Vocation. Like your job.
More than just a job, it's about finding your unique calling, your talents, your purpose. Where do you fit? What are you meant to contribute? This applies to jobs, yes, but also activities, relationships.
Okay.
Rolf did a lot of work in HR and mergers and acquisitions. He saw firsthand the importance of putting the right people in the right places. He even developed assessment tools like Amexcel and IBM's Learner Within.
To do what exactly?
To optimally place people, especially leaders, making sure their natural talents and motivations actually lined up with the challenges of the role. He knew how costly a misplaced leader could be, not just financially, but for morale potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
This whole layer is explored in his book, Finding Vocation and Talent's New Ways in the Jungle of Our Time. It gives practical ways to identify and nurture that calling.
Choices, exercises, vocation, and then the cherry on top.
And then layer 4, integrating it all, is KELiX AHA.
Ah, back to KELiX.
Exactly. The interactive learning tool we talked about, it's the playful, guided experience that brings everything together. The conscious choices, the practice exercises, the pursuit of vocation, all through generating those deep, sustainable insights.
So KELiX helps you apply everything from the other layers.
Precisely. It makes the whole framework really actionable, genuinely transformative. You see how each layer flows into the next. It's a really holistic system.
I do see that. It's
Yeah.
incredibly thorough,
Yeah.
moving from principles to practice to purpose and then to this interactive tool. It really shows the depth of his thinking.
Yeah.
But how do you take something this deep and, frankly, complex and share it effectively today? People are swamped with information. And this is where the story takes that modern twist with his son, Thomas. You mentioned he had a quantum leap using AI. How is he actually using AI and music to get his father's message out there?
Yeah, this part is really cool. Thomas talks about this recent breakthrough he had with AI tools, figuring out good prompting, he calls it.
Prompt engineering, basically.
Kind of, yeah. And he says it led to an explosion of creativity and productivity for him personally.
Okay. So what did he do with it?
He harnessed it to create music. He uses the alias PizzaBurner online places like Suno.com, YouTube.
PizzaBurner.
And his mission is to spread the core ideas of the Earth Manifesto and his own kind of mantra that builds on it. LLL, let's learn the language of love.
LLL.
Isn't it? And Thomas gets that music is this amazing universal language. It hits you emotionally, right? Bypasses intellectual walls. People get it across cultures, ages.
Yeah, music connects instantly.
So he sees it as the perfect medium for spreading these ideas widely, almost intuitively. He's making different versions of the Earth Manifesto and LOL songs in various styles, even tailoring them for specific people.
Wow, personalized manifesto songs.
Apparently. And he did this musical advent calendar thing, a new song each day leading up to Christmas, building a playlist for his family, weaving the manifesto text with that LLOL refrain.
That's incredible. He's basically embedding these deep ideas into people's emotional landscapes through songs.
That's a great way to put it. Using music's resonance, boosted by AI's capability to help people absorb these principles.
It's a fascinating approach for learning something as nuanced as the language of love. And speaking of deep concepts, Thomas uses this really striking phrase he calls his father's whole life's work, a form of psychological quantum mechanics. And that really makes you stop and think, what does that analogy mean in practice? How does it change how we look at human behavior and interactions?
It is a brilliant frame, isn't it? It really gets at the subtlety of Rolf Fink's approach. Thomas explains it by drawing a parallel to actual quantum mechanics in physics.
Okay, like uncertainty, probability.
Exactly. Like how in physics you can't know both the exact position and momentum of a particle simultaneously. There's an inherent uncertainty, probabilities involved. The act of observing changes things.
The observer effect, right?
Right. So Thomas suggests his father's work treats human psychology and interactions similarly, not like fixed, predictable machines.
Like Clockwork Orange or something.
Right, not like that, but more in terms of probabilities and inherent uncertainties. It focuses on the elements, our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, their complex interplay, their impacts, acknowledging there's always a degree of, let's say, fuzziness in human dynamics.
So the practical shift is?
The practical shift is huge, I think. Instead of always looking for simple, absolute cause and effect answers for why people do things or why we react a certain way.
Which we tend to do.
We really do. This perspective encourages us to embrace the probabilistic nature of it all. Our inner world, our relationships. It invites us to consider a whole range of possibilities, influences, potential outcomes, rather than just one linear explanation.
So less judgment, maybe more curiosity.
Exactly. It's about embracing complexity, recognizing that our choices, our interactions, they're constantly influencing and being influenced, kind of like that observer effect. It fosters flexibility, deeper understanding, rather than rigid black and white thinking.
That's a much more nuanced lens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Viewing ourselves and others through probabilities and interactions, acknowledging the fuzziness instead of demanding simple answers. Really interesting. Okay, so let's pull this all together. What does this journey mean for us listening right now? We've traveled through Rolf Fink's really compelling vision for a meaningful life, from the core ideas in the Earth Manifesto and the language of love, to the practical layers of that KELiX cake model.
Right.
And then we saw how his son, Thomas, is using AI and music in these really innovative ways to share it all.
Yeah, making it accessible in whole new formats.
So what's the big takeaway?
Well, I think this deep dive really lays out a holistic path. It's practical, it's actionable, it leads towards more self-awareness, real personal growth, and definitely more compassionate interaction. It highlights Rolf Fink's core belief that learning isn't just for school, it's lifelong, and it can actually be playful. And that process helps us navigate life's bumps, find our purpose, connect better, all through what he called the language of love.
It feels like a complete system for well-being.
It really does, for understanding ourselves and contributing meaningfully.
So here's a final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
Imagine, just imagine, if this language of love wasn't just some nice concept we talk about, but something that became deeply embedded in how we operate. Learned through conscious effort, yes, but also absorbed, maybe more intuitively, through things like art, music, genuine human connection.
Like Thomas is trying to do.
Exactly. What kind of new aha squared moments might we unlock then? Not just for ourselves, but maybe collectively, for a world that seems pretty hungry for deeper understanding and real connection. What might that look like?